What's up, dude? What's up, bro? That's what I forgot. Fucking beans.
It's fucking freezing.
Fuck, these beans.
Right? Good to see you, brother. I'm good, man. Running a little late.
It's all good. I thought I was too.
No, we all are.
What do you need help with, brother?
No, we're good, bro. I'm just gonna grab you. Veronica, like 45 minutes ago, was like, "Let me do your hair."
What'd you do?
I didn't.
Check, alright, fuck it.
Yeah, she's like, I can't handle looking at you like that anymore. I respect that. I think that's good.
I'm just pointing out, like, as I know the trajectory of this thing already, because I see it a mile away.
All right, then books.
I got the same shoes.
What's that? Oh, the LA. Yeah,
Fucking
yeah.
badass.
I love these ones, dude. Dude, where is everybody?
There's just us tonight, or what?
There's a couple people inside.
So, no, so what, but the thing is I, well, no, that what I would suggest is, it's this, like, my wife's like big sober. She's gonna have a positive.
Like, where's Billy? What's up, everyone? Gonna get started here in a minute.
Thought you were eating an ice cream bar. I'm like, how the fuck are you eating ice cream?
No, I forgot I bought this on the way here. I'm like, haven't eaten. I'm starving.
I did the same thing. Just dropped my kid off at my mom's house. Well, what the fuck you got to eat, dude? I'll share with cookies. And
Yeah.
some-
Tiger bar,
Like,
dude.
fuck it, I'll eat it.
Oh, yeah.
They're all stale and shit.
What's up?
There he is.
There he is.
Good evening.
What's up, brother?
What is it?
Good to see you.
Chili. I get some cold weather.
Fucking Jesus.
Can you hear us? Can you hear me okay, everyone?
You wish for it, and then it comes, and you're like, fuck, dude, I want to be a little bit warm, dude. Not this cold, just a little bit warmer.
Check, check. Hello.
All I want to do is put on a sweatshirt.
Let's see what the fucking show's on.
Well, I guess last time I made it still Tuesday.
Yeah? We're here?
Who wants candy? Anyone?
No.
Dude, it's fucking freezing. I feel like we need like a fire.
Still bitching right now.
Yeah.
Still.
Well, you got a lighter right there.
I know.
Got a lighter right here.
But what do
There's a fire
how
pit
do we
right there.
I know, can we make it like will that help? It's a little too cold.
It's freezing.
It's a little cold.
Yeah, what's your name?
Should
Yeah,
we
you need a jacket. Yeah.
but should we do a fire?
I'm like a Zuma guy.
Yeah. Well,
Or is that not gonna
I don't
do
know. I
it?
mean, do we
Okay.
have
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Like
I remember I got those 2 things of wood. Is that not?
I mean, we burned them on Halloween.
Oh, we did.
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know.
That's what they were for.
I went this morning.
Shit, I got a fucking couple of logs, big ass logs at my fucking cousin's yard in Sydney. I can bring you next week.
I mean, might have cleaned up.
But it was like, it was
Someone would have to bring it.
No, I'm saying next
Yeah.
week.
Yeah, well, I mean, yeah, we should. Also, I mean, are we live?
Yeah, we're live.
Yeah, no, not me, Mike.
we can't move all this anyway.
Yeah, come on. We already got people on.
But like, so Mike, this is too far.
Yeah, I was
You know,
gonna
like,
dawn people and I was like,
let's do this.
I know. I think she's taking you to heart.
Yeah, I know.
I'm
Next
not
week.
I know. You should love her up.
Because then they gonna get the wrong impression, you know?
So like, yeah,
Yeah.
Mike.
You're not gonna be?
Easy.
Well, how many?
I didn't see anything.
I was still underscoring a bunch
All
of
we
strand
have are
words, right?
2 of these.
I'm gonna get my hers. Hold on.
I mean, just
I'm gonna get 8, but
for the most part, until like beginning of August, mid-August.
What's up, gentlemen?
I surfed the 4th of July, so that's all I really
Yeah.
recall.
No, that, I mean, there were waves for literally like 2 months. I mean, when I say waves, like I say like, 3 to 4.
Yeah, I don't know. I stopped chasing that Southern California nightmare.
Yeah.
Billy, what's happening?
Well, I made it, so that's good.
We should go sometime when it's
Yeah,
like
for
it's
sure.
slow.
Wait, you can't just get a haircut and cover it up, Mike.
Well, there's dye on it.
Oh, is that what it is?
Yeah, and it's cold, like, it's wet with dye on it.
Hey, you just got your hair date?
Yeah.
I'm surprised anybody's here.
I'm not. I knew you were coming, so I came.
This is what makes it count.
Yeah.
The email went out, Mikey,
Oh, you sent it?
just now.
Damn, dude. Pat okayed all of it? Amazing.
What's up, Billy?
Not much, you know. Just I fell asleep. Fucking crashed hard. I
That
thought I would like
must've
sleep
felt
for
good.
half an hour, and it was like an hour and a half later. Huh?
That must have felt good.
It did, because I was up till like
yeah,
3.
exactly.
Those are the good but scary sleeps. You're like, fuck. Okay.
What day is it?
It's only the can.
I mean, I was.
That happens to me every fucking day.
Me too. Me too. Every day. I was sitting on Sunday.
Because I
I woke
usually,
up
like-
and I thought it was 5. I'm like, oh shit.
I end my day watching.
21:30. I'm good.
Like I watch the TV on the couch. I love watching like fishing and shit. So, yeah.
What do you do for wicked tuna?
No, not like that shit's cool. But
Right
it's the
now,
same
nothing.
shit
I
we
fucking
gotta
lost
say.
my job last week.
You know what I mean? You watch that show?
Right,
dude, we
just
gotta
like
do
Billy
it.
Tarzan.
Nose painting tennis
What?
courts.
Tunas, all that.
Who said
Yeah,
that?
yeah,
It's just like the fan wall. That's never gonna happen.
It's just,
Oh, we don't need to do anymore.
Boat, you know.
What? Not mess with it?
It's easy to like insult, you know, when the fast is sitting there.
And what
Like,
he does,
it's a
yeah,
problem.
It's just
Like
like
with the fat pimple on
Yeah,
the
I
forehead,
kinda
you know.
know that.
Just can't do
personally,
it.
he's
always
Yeah.
crazy
But
stuff.
he
I don't want any
promises everybody the
pimples.
fucking world.
I go to like first
No
point,
people
just,
for me.
Not
He has
today.
nothing
Not
to
today.
show for it. And he
Okay.
takes
Like
the
that little
fucking money
structure in front
for
of that
down
hotel,
payments.
hotel.
You know,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
loses
I go
that
there,
shit because they're like, fuck you.
Big
You know,
bastard,
you're
every
a
time.
week late, 2
Every
weeks
time.
late. You know, you said
Literally,
you'd be
I got-
done
But they
3
got a
weeks
little
ago.
like mooring under there or something.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
I don't
Yeah,
use using
yeah.
work like that. And it's
but it's
Fucking me.
for whatever reason, like 100
Huge
yards
financial problems.
past the structure
Yeah.
there, like that.
Yeah, that happened to me too. I couldn't pay the rent for like
get
2 or
like
3 months, and then finally
yeah, they're like,
my
you know,
wife's left me, and I just left.
you
the
get some
house.
big
I
ones,
still
most of them,
owe
like sandbass, and
Yeah.
it's big.
I mean, I was
But
that close to
you
getting my
catch a
car
bigger one,
fucking
you take it home,
repoed.
and it makes them like,
Saw the dude roll, and I got in my truck and I took off. Called the
Oh
fucking
really?
Oh
You
yeah.
saw the guy?
I was on my way home and I saw him down the street from my house. I'm like, oh.
How do you know?
Channel Islands.
I just
Had a
a
hunch.
gut feeling, and I usually don't ever go to the trail.
I fucking,
It's crazy. This is so So I did. Fucking put it in his garage. He was on.
Start.
Yeah, let's start.
Then they won't come after you.
Hopefully.
Oh yeah.
That's the plan.
It's meeting time, huh? It's,
been for 6 minutes, but
yeah, but I was waiting for Pat.
I'm not gonna be really.
Oh. Okay. Hey, see, we're waiting for Paul and John. Good start without them.
Oh.
What up?
What up?
Should we grab some?
Yeah, I'll get
There's
another
chairs right
chair. I know, but here I could get like another big one. Here.
He can start.
Yeah, thanks. I like it, man. Oh, hey.
By the way,
Dude, are you not
it's
greasing?
completely off.
Shorts?
Never wear pants.
That documentary is not on that.
Ever.
On that
It
website.
is.
No.
I have to find it myself and share it with you because it's there.
It
Wait.
is? Okay, because I'm just letting you know I
I've
love.
had to look like twice.
I told him.
To find it, if you just keep playing with it, it comes up.
I never worked out.
What's up, chat?
Last King.
Okay.
See you, fam.
Okay,
We're here.
Watch that shit. The Last Kingdom.
Crazy.
Nah.
That shit was fucking rad.
What is it? The movie?
I brought those other chairs down.
But she just doesn't. There's no room for that one.
It's actually based on true fucking historic events.
The Last Kingdom?
The Last
Not
Kingdom.
much, man. Just trying to
Best
do
show
it.
ever. Fucking
Doing what?
sick as
Having a
fuck,
good
dude. I
time.
just finished the first
Yeah.
fucking season, dude. I'm
Yeah.
just like,
First season?
yeah.
Yo.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. 'cause I
Second
can go
is
bad.
so good.
That's
Oh,
what I've
yeah.
been fucking reading.
What's going on?
Dude, that show is fucking
Yeah.
rad.
How about you? How are you?
Can't look at
Fight
it.
scenes are fucking badass.
Nice.
It's just,
It's like Game of Thrones, right? All over again.
Got to.
but it's not.
No.
It's like because it's based on true like shit. They kind of like keep it that way.
fucking
and not
Vikings.
just
Yeah, I
go
know
off
too.
on
What do they
fucking
say?
things.
The Danes, bro.
Warriors aren't falling on the battlefield.
No.
Probably makes us strong.
Well, I must be pretty strong.
We all are, but we wouldn't be here.
Okay, so the meeting, everybody pretty much knows the rundown here, right? Will somebody time? Anybody? 2 and 2? And, please.
So wait,
raise
what's
your
up with
hands
Rudy?
So we don't get all chaotic.
I'll ask her to come in.
She needs to
The problem
come.
is
I know,
it's
I know, I
all
know.
the time because everybody's like bouncing off ideas and sharing intermittently. So
Yeah, so
if
let's
that's
keep that to a
happened-
minimum.
Okay.
Yeah.
No, we can do it. We should set like a timer if we're gonna do that.
Oh, yeah, anytime anyone starts talking, we should time them. Yeah.
Well, isn't that what you always do?
Well, that's the plan,
I
but
wasn't
we.
here last week, but before that.
Last week, John, we were just like it was ping pong.
Oh,
It was
shit.
a small meeting and, yeah, so,
You had some dominators.
What's up, Pete?
yeah.
Chilling. Throwing up that Pacoima pee
Was it a Pyru pee?
Yeah, man. That's where I grew up.
Really?
I need it. You should just use
Yours,
yours.
maybe?
Yeah.
I don't know that.
Damn, 41. What up, y'all? It's an all-time high for this early in the meeting. It's cool. More people are getting
In
the
there.
Many
message.
people.
What's up?
What is the message?
How many people?
Everything is gonna be all right, like Bob Marley said.
Yeah, man.
That's my thing right now, you know.
Yeah.
Fuck, dude. I'm always worried it's not gonna be okay, but it always is, right?
Alright, so we're gonna do our 4 minutes of meditation and let's like try to get in the zone.
Mm.
Lift our spirits and walk out of here with something we can use.
Alright, start
It's hard
now.
to hear. I mean, where's the volume at, Mikey? Do you? It's hard to hear. Nope. It's not hard to hear.
We are on page 54, second paragraph. But what of the man who is conscious? Did I say 54?
But what of the man who is conscious of considerable moral imperfection, perhaps of the habit of grave sin, and is at the same time sincerely desirous of spiritual growth. It is to relinquish the quest for spiritual knowledge until he has first reformed his conduct. By no means, as a matter of fact, any attempt to improve himself morally without spiritual growth is foredoomed to failure. No more can a man, to use Lincoln's phrase, raise himself off the ground by pulling on his own bootstraps, then the sinner can reform himself by his own personal efforts. The only result of laying upon himself in such cases will be repeated failure, consequent discouragement, and probably ultimate despair of doing any good. The one thing for such a person to do is to pray regularly, especially at the actual time of temptation, and to throw the responsibility for success upon God. He must carry on in this way no matter how many times he may fail, and if he continues to pray, and especially if he prays in the scientific way, he will, as a matter of fact, very soon find that the power of evil has been broken and that he is free from that particular sin. To pray scientifically is to keep affirming that God is helping him, that the temptation has no power against him, and consistently to calm that his own real nature is spiritual and perfect. This is ever so much more powerful than merely to invoke the help of God. In this way, moral regeneration and spiritual unfoldment will go hand in hand. The Christian life does not require that we possess perfection of character, or else which of us would be able to live it. What it does require is honest, genuine striving for that perfection. My grandma actually used to say this to me: pick yourself up by your bootstraps. So that kind of gets me pretty good right there. And from what I used to take from that was, yeah, you're gonna get punched, you're gonna get socked, you're gonna get knocked down, but if you bring yourself back up, everything's gonna be all right in the long run. I mean, last week I got knocked down. I mean, huge. Lost my job, whole bunch of shit. I started crying, got down on myself, and then called my mom real quick, and she said, "Pick yourself up by your bootstraps." And it was just like, right then and there, I got up, started looking for jobs. Fucking a day later, I got a call. So it was like, you know, yeah, get sorry for yourself, but don't take it to that level. Just pick yourself up and keep on the good fight, because that's what life is pretty much, is a fight every day. Thank you.
Thank you, Brian.
Jonathan, alcoholic.
Jonathan.
So, everything it's saying, it talks about affirming that God is helping him and that the temptation has no power against him. I've found that for me, the best way to practice this affirmative prayer thing is by thanking God constantly. Even when, shit seems to be like not to my liking, it takes an effort to thank God, because by doing that, by thanking God, especially in the case of adversity, is when I'm affirming that, that old AA saying, that you're exactly where you're supposed to be, like everything is exactly the way it's meant to be, so that, if I'm thanking God, I'm affirming that even though this doesn't feel like some great blessing, it must be, because God does no wrong. There's no wrong in God's works. So whatever seems to be going down on the surface is just an appearance. It could even be considered to be an illusion of my perception, which is very fallible, you know, extremely fallible. So I have to, you know, constantly be affirming that, you know, God knows what he's doing. That God is not like fucking around or fucking with me, but, you know, everything's gonna be all right, even if it doesn't feel like it's all right or gonna be all right. God does not make mistakes. So, you know, thanking God to me is, you know, for me personally, that's like the best way I can affirm the presence of God in all my activities, you know, that, you know, my little ant-sized mind judges to be not perfect. You know, that's just because I'm not perfect, but God is perfect, so whatever's going down must fit into his plan in some way that I might not be able to see until way down the line. You know, and I know this from experience because, you know, since I've been doing this, the darkest times that I've had to go through, you know, the real hard, dark times have always, invariably, been sort of like a threshold into something really great. But I can't see that shit ahead of time. I can only see it in retrospect. So that's why it's so important to, you know, say thank you, God. Thank you, God. Thank you, God, for this challenge. Thank you, God, for this difficulty. Thank you, God, for whatever is going down, no matter how painful it is, because I know from experience, and it's also written in all these books, that the pain is the touchstone to growth. And so, you know, if I'm going through a lot of pain, then I must be in a some sort of detoxing period, you know, emotional detox, spiritual detox, physical detox, whatever has to go in my life because it's not serving my highest good. That's going to be painful. But that, you know, just like it's painful, any kind of detox. But, you know, if I didn't detox from something, you know, that was toxic, thank you, then, you know, I would never get to go to the next level of understanding and, you know, and all the blessings that are manifested through that. So, you know, that's my 2 cents. Thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Paul Alcoholic.
Yo.
Paul.
Paul.
To recap what we were talking about last week, we was talking about we have to demonstrate where we're at spiritually, you know? We talked about needing to use help in order to get things done. When we're talking about preparing a tourniquet or taking that baby out of the ditch if you fell into the ditch, we can't just like do that magic unless we're already keyed in that way, you know. We have to demonstrate where we're at, and that takes some sort of help. In the book it says we have 2 options. One is to go to the bitter end fighting, and the other is to accept spiritual help. In here it says any attempt to improve himself morally without spiritual growth is foredoomed to failure. This is, like they said, this is a we program. We're going to need help. No more can a man, to use Lincoln's phrase, pull himself off the ground by pulling on his own bootstraps than the sinner can reform himself by his own personal effort. I can't trust my old fucked up ways to get me somewhere spiritually. I have to rely on something higher than myself, whatever you want to call it, whatever your God understanding is. I have to use that help. It says the only result of relying upon himself in such case will be repeated failure, consequent discouragement, and probably ultimate despair of doing any good. The only thing he goes right for the throat, dude. Like I keep saying, the only thing for such a person to do is to pray regularly, especially at the actual time of temptation, and to throw the responsibility for success upon God. That's what they call like taking a leap of faith, right? Or something like that. Trust God, clean house, let go and let God. There's so many cliches I could say where it says to trust upon the higher power. That's the second and third step. Find a God of your understanding and give your will and your life over to the care of that loving God as you understand him. Without that, we can't do the remaining 9 steps. It's impossible. Unless you're doing it your own way. And we read in the book last time that before you come to rely upon it, you're going to go through humiliations and you're going to go through your old self again. If you go by the way you've been going by things, you're going to get what you got. You're going to get insanity. What they say the definition of insanity is doing something the same way and expecting different results. One day or another, you're going to have to rely on something other than self. That's what's hard for us alcoholics to get through our thick skulls. On page 88, it says we lack discipline. So we let God discipline us on the simple way we just outlined, which was the first 11 steps going into 12. This is a spiritual program. Well, I'm talking AA, but this is where it came from. If you're living this way of life, going recapping even more, it says if you're going to live this way of life, it's better to not even know this life if you're going to go in your own way. Living this way of life, you have that trust in the power that you found. We say we found him in step 2, or whatever your path is, how you found spirituality, you have to trust in that power. Or you're going to keep getting what you got. That's what my sponsor, when I came in, he says, that's what self is. I had to define what self is. Self is the person I came in here as. Before I found the trust, before I got a relationship with a power greater than myself. If I keep going to self, I'm going to get what self, I'm going to be the same person I came in here as 10 years ago, before I found these rooms. I'm going to be the same person if I'm relying upon self. If I take God, good, orderly direction, and trust that power, I'm going to get better things. It just happens like that. Anybody that doesn't believe it can try it for yourself. Or keep trying your own way and come back when you're beat up enough to take some direction. That's it for me.
Thanks for bringing the big book in there. I like that.
That's all I do, man. You can quack now.
I'll share. Billy Alcoholic.
Billy.
So this paragraph kind of just sums up my daily wandango, you know? Like every day I sort of go through this process where, you know, I'm a sinner and I'm failing and I desire spiritual growth, but I'm just running on self. And then I realize that isn't working, that never works, it hasn't worked, and the only thing that does work is regular prayer. And what it says here is even better than asking God for help is to affirm that your own spiritual perfection, nature is perfect. This is ever so much more powerful than merely to invoke the help of God. So I'm going to try that today and tomorrow. The one thing that always trips me up is it says, you know, like genuine striving, there's your word, striving. Genuine striving for that perfection. And the perfect, you know, like Jesus is perfect and we have spiritual perfection, nature, and striving for perfection. Always kind of just like, well, what's the point? You know, because we're not going to be perfect, but so that part always, I mean, that kind of stuff is all through this book here, and so that always tripped. I don't know, I'm just like, well, perfect? Who wants to be perfect? What does perfect even mean? So, I like this paragraph. That's why I underlined all of it. Blah, 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 blah. Thank you.
Thanks, Billy.
Thank you, Billy.
The words are progress, not perfection. We could live and rely upon that, then we're not so beat up and we're not perfect.
Hamish Alcoholic.
Hamish.
I get a lot from this in my, about the, you have to have spiritual growth, but you have to practice, like, putting yourself back together. And, what do they say in the beginning? God doesn't give you more than you can handle, right? Like, when I first got sober, all I could deal with was a day, right? Like, just one day, just to get through that first day, right? And then I remember, like, why we have those monuments early on, 30, 60, 90, right? Like, those are radical milestones in early sobriety. And then a year, like, I went around the sun once. And in that thing, like, we have to practice the basic routine of life again, commitments, showing up to meetings, being accountable to somebody before we can even begin to, like, kind of let God in. And then we gotta let God in. And then we have to do the spiritual practices, which is all the steps after the third step. And then we kind of do our thing. We're running on early sobriety, and then I noticed in my own experiences, the next phase was getting used to myself with God, like without other people, without feeling with a girl or this or that. I spent year 2 to 3 just finally figuring out that I liked being with myself and my new condition with God. And then life came, and then it's have a kid, right? And then for me, where I hear this thing about the pray in the scientific way, right? In the beginning, I used to always I call it spare change God. Ask God for help. Ask God for help. Help me. Help me. Help me. Help me. And then I had a herniated disc, right? And as a sober guy, dude, I battled this out. And then I was listening to this pastor I listened to, and he's like, people pray wrong. People pray in the negative versus the affirmative, right? And this is talking about praying in the affirmative. And what he's like, you have to pray in the success of the obstacle you were overcoming. Mm-hmm. So I got on that knee that first morning, and I prayed, and I thanked God for the journey that I was going to be on to overcome my back issue. I couldn't walk 10 feet then. Mm. But because I'd been trained in early sobriety, I knew I could overcome, if I could overcome alcoholism, I can overcome a herniated disc and the disability of that. But I needed to hear how to pray differently at that time in order to do it. And then I overcame that obstacle, and I got my health back, moved the ball forward. The next big whammy was the fire. I lost all my stuff, right? And then the wife's like, well, I want to get separated. Then it wasn't about me, because my system was refined more. The problem was bigger, but I had a bigger solution. So I got right to God versus because I already knew how to pray in the affirmative. And I was like, all right, God, show me what to do. And God's like, I got you. So I rolled through that. And now you look at 2020. When all this showed up, I looked at someone right at the beginning. I go, dude, this is nothing. I had the fire last year. I had the get the marriage back together. So I know what to do. I can pray in the thing, and it's not about me anymore. I'm praying to be of service in the 12th step for real, of like, I don't have to like fear anything anymore, because I know that I can pray to overcome the obstacle. Quack.
Thank you, Hamish.
Thanks, Hamish.
I'll do another quickie. Billy Alcoholic.
Right.
Yeah, you just reminded me of something. I learned this, which didn't seem to make sense at first, but it said to pray like, so I've struggled, with this chronic illness that was really debilitating. And I thought, my days were over pretty much. And I started saying, thank you for healing me. But I wasn't healed, and I forgot about that. Thanks for reminding me. And like, whatever the struggle is, you already affirm that it's happening or happened or in the process of happening. And I found that to be effective in some kind of weird way. That's it.
Thank you.
Let me quote the 12 and 12 real quick, Paul. This is from the bottom of page 68, step 6. We're entirely ready to have God change these defects of character. It says here, we're talking about perfection now, so this goes hand in hand with what we're talking about. It's the last couple of paragraphs, step 6, in the 12 and 12. If we would gain any real advantage in the use of this step on problems other than alcohol, we shall need to make a brand new venture into open-mindedness. We shall need to raise our eyes toward perfection and be ready to walk in that direction. It will seldom matter how haltingly we walk. The only question will be, are we ready? Looking again at those defects we are still unwilling to give up, we ought to erase the hard and fast lines that we have drawn. Perhaps we shall be obliged in some cases still to say, this I cannot give up yet. But we should not say to ourselves, this I will never give up. Let's dispose of what appears to be a hazardous open end we have left. It is suggested we ought to become entirely willing to aim toward perfection. We note that some delay, however, might be pardoned. That word, in the mind of a rationalizing alcoholic, could certainly be given a long-term meaning. He could say, how very easy, sure, I'll head toward perfection, but I'm certainly not going to hurry any. Maybe I can postpone dealing with some of my problems indefinitely. Of course, this won't do. Such a bluffing of oneself will have to go the way of many another pleasant rationalization. At the very least, we shall have to come to grips with some of our worst character defects and take action toward their removal as quickly as we can. The moment we say no, never, our minds close against the grace of God. Delay is dangerous, and rebellion may be fatal. This is the exact point at which we abandon limited objectives and move toward God's will for us. So again, like I was saying, it's like progress, not perfection. And the more we rely upon that power we found, the closer to perfection we're going to get. We aim toward perfection. But we're progressing as we go. And that's the key. Progress, not perfection. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hamish, I'll call it.
Hey, Nick.
I just wanted to chime in and bounce off of what Paul was saying. And the thing, because we're learning this thing, God doesn't exist in our temporal time frame, right? So when we pray, we tend to pray on our own timescape. But the big book has the lightning rod of all statements, and it's been rocketed into the fourth dimension. And the fourth dimension is really implying about the time code. And so when we pray, we can be in this present moment, but already be praying in our future results. And it kind of clarifies that even more in the paragraph that's laid into. When therefore we have approached by those whom the problem had been solved, there was nothing left for us but to pick up the simple kit of spiritual tools laid at our feet. We have found much of heaven, and we have been rocketed into the fourth dimension of existence, of which we had not ever dreamed.
Yeah, man.
And that's where I found this thing with my back, was when I prayed in that moment, I was in the solved reality, because I had professed it with God's blessing to be cured of my ailment, because I gave it to him, and he was like, thank you for allowing me to solve your problem, because I rocketed into the fourth dimension. And I've always found this was the first thing I ever heard in AA when I was sitting there, because I'm a tripper, right? I'm like an acid guy. So that's the first thing I ever heard in the fog, was rocketing in the fourth dimension. I was like, what is that? And I've always tripped that this book came from the 30s, right? When they wrote it in the 30s, right?
Yeah.
They're talking about rocket. They're talking about
fucking time travel, quantum physics right here in this one line.
Quantum
Way
leap.
beyond the understanding of the common man in the 30s. And this is a divine line if we truly explore that deeper.
Yeah, man. That's true affirmative prayer, man.
Anybody else want to share?
You all right?
I'm cold, man.
Right, next
There's
Terry.
nothing but bones under here.
Well, I have a jacket upstairs if you want it.
Here you go.
And there's like a bunch of, we have like so many blankets too in that
I don't want you
cupboard.
to freeze, man.
No, but like in that cupboard right there, there's like just like,
Which cupboard?
Here.
dude. Hamish, will you grab some blankets in that? There's like, I want to use these blankets because we have so many.
Talking about
My
this
wife
and
gets all these
alcohol.
blankets.
Did you get one of those heaters?
We have so many blankets. Yeah, I want to get a heater. They're expensive. I gotta do a bunch of shit.
No, there's more. I can't do that. I feel a cavity
You people on online land
Yeah,
want to donate. We need a heater.
Here, you want
Well, yeah. I'll just say, somebody's commenting. I'm super socially awkward, depressed, self-proclaimed alcoholic with a passion of filmmaking in Florida. I'd love to connect with someone who is also in Florida. Can we vote? Pat starts using a fire pit. Yeah, well, we're gonna try to figure that out maybe next time. There's a fire pit there. Yeah, we're gonna do that. But there's like, there's more blankets. No.
Yeah, that's it. Anyone else want one?
Those heated lamps are dope.
Yeah, this is amazing. Like, I'm so grateful to have everyone here, and I'm kind of like in and out, like not fully present. It's hard to be at my house because we're like working on different things, and but what we're talking about is like so good for me, like, because I'm just in so much financial fear right now. Investing into this, like, I guess you could call it a startup.
Right.
You know, like, I mean, this is a meeting, but, you know, it costs a little money to do it, and we do the podcast, and we're working on a show that we want to try to... We're doing a lot of things around this Learning to Lose brand, and I'm not really making money. I mean, we are, but I'm investing a lot of money into this thing because I believe in the message, but there's just like a lot of fear. But I guess what we're reading is it just does, none of that shit matters. It's just like all like, it's all like little, like, there's always something. My whole life, there's always been something, whether it was the Hypercrush thing or the Ridge Production thing or whatever the fuck, you just lost your job. Like, we're always going through something that seems so real. And we can pray. I mean, Meniere's, like, he has this crazy disease that causes him to not even be able to, like, walk or, like, I've seen him just, like, in my house, like, trying to water the plants, Billy, my sponsor, and he can't even fucking, like, move. And I'm, like, worried about, like, you know, maybe not being able to pay, like, one of the people. I don't know. There's just so much to be grateful for. But the point that you guys are making is that, like, we don't really even need to worry about anything. Is that's kind of like what you're saying? Like, you almost pray, like, oh, thanks for what's about to happen, which is I'm going to get through all this, and it's all going to work out the way it's supposed to. Mm-hmm. But I refuse to, it's almost like, okay, I know this vape is going to give me anxiety, but I have to hit it. I have to. I can't just chill. It's almost as if I want chaos or turmoil, or I need that. I'm so used to it that I just, like, like I can't break the fucking the way my mind thinks. Like I just can't. It's like remember I was explaining like the sled paths. Like we've been thinking a certain way. Like sleds go down a mountain, and as they keep going down it, they create like a path. So it's going to end up in that path. It's hard to go out into the powder and create a new path because it's almost like my thoughts are like there's like a magnet pulling them into this rut because I've been thinking it for so long. I wake up and I'm like, oh, I can be happy today. And then my mind just goes, fear. Where's the fear? Find the fear. Oh, that, but that. Oh, and but that. And then you're trying to do this and that's not working. And then I'm like, it's just so hard, dude. But this is helpful, and I feel like even though I'm in a lot of fear, I've been able to kind of be like nice today, and it's like kind of looming a little bit, but like I'm not, getting sucked too far into it. I don't know, just fucking exhausting. I mean, I guess it's like so exhausting. I'm just so like done like worrying. So I guess it's just it took weeks of me just the hamster wheel of worry. And now I'm just like, you know what? Like I can't, like fuck that. I don't even care anymore. Like I don't even want to open up that paid, that I don't even want to look at the subscribers anymore, but like I have to. But every time I look at it, it's like a reminder that it's like that it's like when you're dealing with numbers and shit, they're getting lower. So how do you look at something and go, oh, every day I open it up, it's dropping? How do you not get fearful when that's happening? It's hard, you know. It's like
Jonathan,
yeah, Jonathan.
So, oh man, I don't like to crosstalk at meetings.
That's what it's here, though.
I don't think I ever have. But,
do it.
but I'm
It's
gonna do
okay
it
here, I
today.
think, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
because I know it's okay here. So I'm
Yeah.
I'm going to talk directly to what was said, and you know what I heard. Correct me if I'm wrong, but what I heard was a lot of affirmations in what you said, and there was a lot of negative affirmations. I can't, I have to do this even though I know it's fucking me up, and you know, I can't get over this, and I can't see, you know, and it's like, see, words have a lot of power, man, and the words that I speak to myself or about my situation, metaphysically, those words are actually creating my fucking reality.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know this, of course. I think, oh, well, you know, but I mean, you know, it's normal to be, you know, pissed off and, you know, fearful. I mean, everything sucks, doesn't it? And, you know, then somebody will come along and be like, well, you know, if you say so. And see, the universe is saying the same thing. The universe is literally saying, well, if you say so, then here you go.
Yep.
You know, here's a big dish of shit. Eat it. You know, and it's like, I'm tired of eating shit. You know, I ate shit all my life. And then I came into this program by the grace of God. And, you know, I tasted ice cream. And I was so used to eating shit that I would go back to the shit just by reflex. You know, it's like that path that you're talking about, that pathway. It's like I've got a pathway when I come into this life, this new way of life. I've got a pathway that is like a super highway with like, you know, beautiful pavement and, you know, lights, and it's like the fucking Autobahn, you know, super highway to hell. And if I want to get off that highway because I'm speeding to, you know, a really disastrous conclusion, I have to, you know, sort of like stop the car, get out of the car, get my machete, and like start cutting through the fucking bush, and you know, it's not easy. And that, you know, it's like, there's a quote that I put from somebody in one of my books, and it says, travelers, there are no paths. Paths are made by walking. So it's like, you know, I've got a super highway to hell that's built into my consciousness. It's my default. It's where I go without thinking. Why would I get out of a car and, you know, hack through the fucking jungle with a machete, you know, with poisonous snakes and fucking quicksand and shit, no light to, you know, go somewhere good, when I could just get on this really comfortable, you know, 6-lane highway, you know, with perfect everything, and it's taking me to hell, you know. So it takes a lot of effort to, you know, they don't call these things neural pathways for nothing. I mean, these are the pathways that create my reality, you know, so I have to train myself. It takes work. And I have to train myself. And that's the discipline that Paul was reading about, you know, in the book. It's, you know, it's discipline. It takes discipline. And, you know, it's like, of course I'm not powerful enough to do that. That's why, you know, it says in here that I gotta ask for help. I have to reach out. I have to ask for God's help. And then I have to take that direction and just strive to put that into practice in my life. And no, I'm not gonna do it perfectly, because I've got a super highway to hell built in, and the path is gonna be rigorous and it's gonna be difficult, you know, but I gotta keep striving for perfection. I know I'm far from perfect. I'm not gonna get there. I fuck up all the time. But I have to train myself not to speak negative affirmations, especially about my life, because that's gonna create my reality. And I don't want to eat shit anymore. So, you know, hope that's helpful. Thanks, John.
Thank you, John.
Yeah.
Danielle, alcoholic.
Danielle.
So I'm in a Bible study weekly, and in Ephesians it says that we take up the whole armor of God,
Yeah, man.
and that's the helmet of salvation, the breastplate of righteousness, the shield of faith. We have to loins girded with truth, and the sword of the Spirit, and feet shod with the preparation of the gospel of peace. So, what activates the armor is prayer, and so since I've been part of this Bible study, like I have to remember every morning to hit my knees and I just say the Lord's Prayer, which is why I believe God put me into AA, is where like I learned all of that, you know, and then and that activates all of this. And yeah, I just wanted to share that.
Nice.
Gotta loin your girdles.
With truth. Gird my loin with
Gird
truth.
your
Speak a
loins.
little bit on that. Yeah, because the amount of effort to think differently and to be aware of what's going on in your head, it's well, Astrid used to talk on this, and there's this guy who passed away, Bill Galvin.
Oh,
You need to give it 100% of what you've got right now, but even if that 100% is only
20%,
10%,
yeah.
you've got to give that 10%, you know,
100%
of that 10%
20%, yeah.
at any given time. And it's like you're battling something that's a future surfer, a past surfer, and never shuts up. Even when you're asleep, your mind is going. And so it's the ultimate battle in a way. And to act and be different takes conscious effort. Like you gotta be here and you gotta be looking at this and you gotta like make effort. Like he just described it, but I'm just saying like it's all you know, it's a fucking job, man. That's all.
Thank you.
okay. We're all making this up, you know. It is what we say it is. And we talked about that about 3 weeks, 4 weeks, a month ago. About we affirm what we affirm, and that's what it's gonna be. even in the big book, it says we suffer from a seemingly hopeless, seemingly hopeless disease of mind and body, or something like that. It says something like that. I'll read this. It's good old fashioned how it works, man. This is a requirement because we're all self-centered. This is gonna be 2-3 paragraphs here. The first requirement is that we be convinced that any life run on self-will can hardly be a success. On that basis, we are almost always in collision with something or somebody, even though our motives are good. Most people try to live by self-propulsion. Each person is like an actor who wants to run the whole show, is forever trying to arrange the lights, the ballet, the scenery, and the rest of the players in his own way. If his arrangements would only stay put, if only people would do as he wished, the whole show would be great. Everybody, including himself, would be pleased. Life would be wonderful. In trying to make these arrangements, our actor may sometimes be quite virtuous. He may be kind, considerate, patient, generous, even modest and self-sacrificing. On the other hand, he may be mean, egotistical, selfish, and dishonest. But as with most humans, he is more likely to have varied traits. What usually happens? The show doesn't come off very well. He begins to think life doesn't treat him right. He decides to exert himself more. He becomes on the next occasion still more demanding or gracious. As the case may be, still the play does not suit him. Admitting he may be somewhat at fault, he is sure that other people are more to blame. He becomes angry, indignant, self-pitying. What is his basic trouble? Is he not really a self-seeker, even when trying to be kind? Is he not a victim of the delusion that he can wrest satisfaction and happiness out of this world if he only manages well? Is it not evident to all the rest of the players that these are the things he wants, and do not his actions make each of them wish to retaliate, snatching all they can get out of the show? Is he not, even in his best moments, a producer of confusion rather than harmony? Our actor is self-centered, egocentric, as people like to call it nowadays. He is like the retired businessman who lolls in the Florida sunshine in the winter, complaining of the sad state of the nation. The minister who sighs over the sins of the 20th century. Politicians and reformers who are sure all would be utopia if the rest of the world would only behave. The outlaw safecracker who thinks society has wronged him, and the alcoholic who has lost all and is locked up. Whatever our protestations, are not most of us concerned with ourselves, our resentments, or our self-pity? Selfishness, self-centeredness, that we think is the root of our troubles, driven by 100 forms of fear, self-delusion, self-seeking, self-pity. We step on the toes of our fellows and they retaliate. Sometimes they hurt us seemingly without provocation, but we invariably find that at some time in the past we have made decisions based on self-quacking, which later placed us in a position to be hurt. This is all I'm going to end with. So our problems, troubles, we think are basically of our own making. They arise out of ourselves, and the alcoholic is an extreme example of self-will run riot, though he usually doesn't think so. Above everything, we alcoholics must be rid of this selfishness. We must, or it kills us. God makes that possible. And there often seems no way of entirely getting rid of self without his aid. I could keep reading. I can go through the whole.
Have a seaweed.
But dude, we make this shit up ourselves. We're self-centered to the extreme, and it's fear-based. That's why we're here, though. You know, it's a good thing we're here. Some people don't have the chance to get this opportunity.
I'm okay, thank you.
That's all I got.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Alright.
We can keep keep sharing on this, or maybe the next one?
No, Hamish Alcoholic, just on the crosstalk with Kat here. What's it called?
What?
This?
This meeting?
Yeah.
Sermon on the Mount?
No. What's your whole thing called?
Oh, learning to lose.
Right.
I know.
That's-
That's why.
That's the thing is when we've lost, right? We get to rock it back to the fourth dimension because we're not caught in the third dimension of the trinkets and stuff and the thing.
Yeah.
Because all that stuff is just stuff. It's not what you're here for as a spiritual being. Like we have to lose all of this in order to get the true glory, right?
Yeah.
And I had this illustration once. I was on my phone bitching to my sponsor. I go, man, all I need is 10 grand, dude. 10 grand will set me free to do what I want. Dude,
Yeah.
as I'm talking to that dude, Joe, you remember Joe? As I'm talking to Joe, I'm looking in my closet, and I had $15,000 saved up in my shoebox up there, and I'm going, all I need is 10 grand to set me free, and I'm looking at talking to him, and I'm looking at the shoebox, and I go, oh fuck, now what? Now what?
Got
I got
500 bucks to
15
spare.
grand. So why am I not free? Right? And hence the journey of the trinkets and the three dimensions, right? Like the journey's been long to get to the fourth dimension of freedom of this. But I had to lose it all. Fires, divorces, pandemics, whatever you want, man. So you're on the path, brother. Don't fade now.
No, I'm not. I just.
I know.
You know. You lose it, and then you're free, and then when you start getting it again, the fear of losing it comes back, and then.
I'll share on that because I went through that today.
Yeah. The more you get, the more you're afraid to lose, or at least that's how it works for me.
Or what happens is I just get so tired of listening to myself. I'm like, we say, fuck it, which isn't the best way to say it. But you know what? I don't care if I lose the client. I don't care if I get paid. My faith is strong enough now that shit works out if I live by principle. It just does. And so I don't even got a trick. Someone might walk into my life, whatever, it just doesn't matter because the ultimate goal, like Hamish just said, it's not the third dimension, and that I just realized it. I'm like, you know what? I want to talk to this client the way I want to talk to him. I don't care if this happens. I'm good. You know, what I care about is breath, love, life. You know, like breath, love, life, breath, love, life. And I'll say that over and over like today. Cause, but I gotta be real clear that, like, it's kind of like I have to lose it all in my head. Like, okay, it's gone anyway, so what am I left with? You know, like some relationships, I'm alive and I got breath. And I say breath is God and God is life and life is God and breath because God is life. I know, I make up little mantras, it just helps during the day. That's it.
Thanks, Billy.
Thanks, Billy.
I guess that's what we gotta learn to lose. It's the requirement. You be convinced that any life run on self-will can hardly be a success. You gotta lose self-will. The more you rely on the 12 and 12, it says the more we rely upon God, the more self-reliant we actually are.
Yeah, you know, it's like, you know, that old saying, like if you take one step towards God, the next 100 steps will be on God's, you know, on God's account. Because he'll, you know, you took that one little baby step towards God, and God goes, all right, cool. Let me help you out here. Here's a fucking fast
Here's
car.
15,000 bucks.
$15,000. Here's whatever. I went through the same thing as Hamish. I like the first 15 years of my sobriety, I was broke as a fucking joke, and I was in constant financial fear. And then one day, just by God saying, like, all right, you know, keep pushing, keep shoving, you know, until you get tired. Whatever, you know. I don't know what happened, really. I don't know what happened. But looking back on it, I had a similar thing, you know, where like I'd been sitting on a lot of fucking money. It wasn't money like cash money. It was stuff that I could convert into money. It was resources that I had in my. I was so fearful, and I was so caught up in my, you know, my fear delusion that, you know, my poverty mentality that, you know, that goes back fucking generations with my people, you know. And I was so caught up in that pathway that you were talking about, that you know, that path of just, oh, I don't have enough. Fuck, God, this sucks. You know, how am I ever gonna get back on my feet? You know, that I couldn't seem to see any way out of that path. And then one day, there it was. You know, suddenly like, aha, and boom. Since then, you know, I mean, by the grace of God, you know, it's been like prosperity and abundance, and you know, that's something I have to take zero fucking credit for, because it's God saying, all right, now you get this. So, you know, stop thinking like a fucking, you know, like a fucking little ghetto rat, and, you know, get over that shit, because, you know, I have all the fucking cash and prizes in the world come to me. So, you know, that's what I've been doing. Thank you.
That's right.
Did you have a hand up?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, despite my efforts, like today, I feel that I've been pulling away from God and what His will is for me, which is kind of rough. It's like I've been trying to ignore the numbers and the money and my state of life, and just try to focus on what I'm thankful for. But external things, but maybe it's not external, maybe it's internal, is making me focus on competitive shit that I really wish I didn't give that much attention to. And not feeling like the best version of myself, and I'm wishing I could just, you know, I've prayed about it a couple times today, and it's weird because I started with a decent day, and then it just progressively got shittier. And but I'm like, why am I thinking like that? Why am I like letting things affect me in a negative manner when I have so much to be thankful for? And it's rough. It's like people are asking me to prove myself when I'm like, you know, why? Why do I have to do that? Why do I have to? I don't know. It's been a rough day though, and I need to pray more. Just kind of hating being alive.
Whoa.
Yeah. And I'm detoxing. I'm on my 26th day of sobriety, and I can feel like demons fucking leaving my body. And people like will say, oh, well, that's negative. Oh, you're coming across negative. And I'm like, well, you know, I'm doing the best that I can. I wish you would kind of fuck off. But that's not God's way. And I'm like, I know that. And that's like evil of me to feel and think that way. But I'm... Huh.
It's appropriate.
Yeah.
It's like, you know, you want to affirm my pain with your fucking negativity? Fuck off.
Yeah.
That's, you know, that's your sovereign right and duty even. Protect yourself from that kind of attack.
I'm just trying to be comfortable with where I'm at right now, and it's hard.
It ain't easy.
One thing that I say I'm still learning to do, and what I've been learning to do in this journey is learning to breathe. Even in the other spiritual study we do.
But see, with that, I
Learn to
almost
breathe.
want to say fuck off to that. Like, I don't, like,
You don't want to breathe?
I know how to breathe. Like, I practice controlled breathing all the time. It just sounds like such a, you know?
Well,
Does it work like a narco or something? But
No, it
helps.
doesn't.
Mike-
Well, we're used to instant
Mikey had a
gratification,
hand up,
man.
so we're going into chaotic cross. Are you
No, I'm done.
done?
I'm done.
I don't want to cut you off.
No, I'm done.
Okay. Thank you.
Mikey,
Thanks for being honest.
Mikey Alcoholic. There's a phrase that I love so much that I tattooed it on my arm, and it says, "It's only after we've lost everything that we're free to do anything."
Yeah.
Yeah, it's from Fight Club, the movie, but
There you go.
whatever.
Great movie.
Yeah, great movie, but that's it's like hearing about prayer and Rudy, thanks for sharing. I really appreciate your share, because somebody told me a long time ago, it's like you can feel however the fuck you want to feel, because everyone's gonna tell us, you know, well, you can't feel this way or you can't feel that way, but it's like, no, I can feel however I want to feel. But on the other hand, someone said it matters how you react to the fear. It matters. It matters what you do with the fear. Because, like, look, everyone is going to live in fear. Fear is going to come. There's no doubt about it. So I can't change the way I think, thinking the way I've always thought. Should I say that again? No, I'd probably fuck it up. But the point is that God has to be the center of my life, and it's so hard. You know, why do I only pray when I need something or I want something, or you know, it's like here's the thing. Like, I have a disease as well that scares the shit out of me, and like what you just said is like, you know, like I continue to pray this way is, God, thank you for healing my body. Thank you for healing my body. Thank you that I'm able to walk. I'm able to pick up my daughter. I'm actually able to play drums, which was a huge fear of mine that I was never going to be able to do. So that fear can't control my life. Now, if someone said, oh, you can't be afraid of having multiple sclerosis, I'd be like, fuck off. Fuck you. Because you don't, you know what I mean? So, like, that's why, like, not to crosstalk, but Rudy, like, these people that are saying this shit need to fuck off.
They haven't been through it.
They haven't been through the shit that we've been through.
Yep.
So it goes back to the sympathy and the empathy part, right? Where it's like, oh, like I had a hard time sharing about having MS because so many people were like, oh, I'm so sorry. And I stopped telling people. But I let it fester inside of me. And then it was like, that's when I really was able to learn empathy and be like, okay, well, like, let me put myself in someone else's shoes. Like, working with alcoholics and addicts and sponsoring people and having a sponsor, like, that's the only real way I've learned empathy. You know, where it's like, you know, someone asked me the other day, like, hey, we should, like, or someone said it, they said, you know, does God give you too much, like, will God give you too much to handle? Like, or
More than you could
More than you can handle. And it's like, no, I don't believe God will, but I definitely will.
Yeah.
I give myself, because I'm constantly making up things in my head, and I'm constantly like, I already know what everyone here's thinking. You know what I'm saying? Like that's like my sick ego, self-will, like, you know what I mean? And I don't know. I truly believe that on a daily basis I have to lose everything. And that starts with self-will, you know, because yeah, like all that reading, like you read it and I was like, oh, I've already heard this, and you know, I'd like, you know, but it's like, that's the truth. That is the truth. We are able to feel however the fuck we want to feel. It's what we do with the fear. You know what I'm saying? And fear usually doesn't end up living in fear. The shit I usually worry about never happens. Ever. Ever. And I'll say it again that I don't know if I say it every time I share, but I'm going to continue to say it. God is always willing. Yeah. I'm not. So, it takes willingness. Thanks. It's fucking freezing out here.
When I was new, I was very, I came in here suicidal. I had attempted suicide 3 times. And I think it was my second sponsor that told me this, because I was still fucked up after going through the steps once with my first sponsor. He says, whatever it is, whatever the problem is, there's no way up, down, or around it. You have to go through it.
Yep.
Once you go through
Through
it, you
the
have
pain.
the experience. It's all about the experience. So trust the process. If you're here doing this work, you're going to have bad times, but the only way to go through them is to actually go through them. There's no way around it, up or down, or any kind of way to cut.
Yeah, it's like surgery, man. You know, I mean, I could just talk about my own experience, but like my first many years in recovery was literally like surgery, and you know, surgery is gnarly, man, especially without anesthetics. And I like my anesthetics, man. That's my go-to, you know, all my life. And suddenly, I'm deprived of the medicine that kept me able to walk through, you know, this garden of thorns, because that's what life was for me. And suddenly, you know, I'm detoxing, and then I'm, you know, sober, and I'm like, fuck, no wonder I drank and drugged myself to near extinction. This sucks. It sucks to be sober. It's painful. I fucking ate shit and died 1,000 deaths on a daily basis for years. And you know what? I don't have to do that today. And I know that I don't do that today. But I couldn't have gone from that trembling wreck of a failed human being to somebody, you know, who's relatively sane and without that, having that experience of having to, you know, undergo that fucking horrible emotional, spiritual surgery. And I heard a quote today from Laura Eisenhower, who I listen to a lot. She's awesome, but you know, you probably know who she is. Anyway, she said, somebody she was talking to, maybe, I don't know, but they said, champions aren't born in the ring, they're made there.
Yeah.
So, you know, it means the struggle is what makes us strong. And we're struggling, all in our own way, and that I'm just gonna end with this, you know, the empathy that he was talking about, you know, that relates to compassion. And compassion is actually a word, I've said this before, that has roots in Latin, where it's compassion. It means it basically boils down to shared suffering. So like, that's why AA works so beautifully, because, you know, we've all suffered from this shit, that, you know, we've all been there. You know, Paul's tried to kill himself. You know, I've tried to kill myself. Probably a lot of people in here have tried to kill themselves, either consciously or unconsciously. And, you know, so when we can hear somebody who's suffering, we're like, oh yeah, you know, been there, done that, suffered.
Keep coming back.
Keep coming back, it gets better, you know, because we know from experience that it gets better. Because we've suffered, you know, and we can still suffer. Knowing now, with our suffering, knowing in our suffering, right in the middle of my suffering, I know from experience that it's going to get better, that it always gets better. Every time I've suffered, in equal measure, I have prospered because of my willingness to go through that suffering. So, you know, that's why AA is such a beautiful thing, because you're not going to meet anybody who's successful in AA recovery that has not. Nobody's flown in on the wings of victory. We all came here broken, destroyed, fucked up, last resort, want to die, can't face life, all that. Everybody in here, you know, and so, you know, this is where it boils down to, you know, sharing our common experience, strength, and hope with each other, that we can recover from this seemingly hopeless state of mind and body. Seemingly. That's the operative word there. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So this kind of brought something up. I'll speak on that for a second. So I don't think this is everybody's experience, but it was so hard for me to get sober that I have little faith in anyone who says they're going to get sober. I have like maybe a 0.01 idea that they're gonna actually be able to do it. And so, you know, and some days, maybe even weeks, I just like slept, ate, slept. I would get up to smoke cigarettes. That's the only reason I stayed alive. Is so, oh my God, cigarettes. You know, it was like the one thing I had.
When you first got sober.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, like wake up at 3, smoke a cigarette, and I'd be, oh my God. I mean, it just, for me, it was just a treasure. I mean, you know, so when people like normies, like, why is it so hard, and why don't you just do this? And like, you can't tell them how hellish it is in your own mind. And so, but here's the other thing that is probably crucial, and the whole AA program's kind of built on this spirit of complete defeat. Like, I'm powerless, I brought drugs and alcohol, that my life had become unmanageable. So for me, yeah, I knew that on drugs, but I had to learn that in sobriety, that I'm a fucking nut. Yeah. And without this, I'm just a lunatic, probably maybe worse than when I was on drugs.
Yep.
And so that really helped solidify, oh yeah, okay, I'm fucking mentally ill and I need this shit. Thank you, God, there is something that can help me. Yeah, so that's it.
Thank you.
Thanks, Billy.
Yeah, like the hamster wheel thing of being mentally ill and newly sober, like, and feeling again after you haven't felt in so long. It's like, it's kind of bullshit, like living in your own mind. Like, it's really hard to, like, I'm actually asking a lot more of myself being newly sober than I think. I don't know, everybody's different, but like I've been working like 10-hour days every day, and that's somehow keeping me afloat in some sense, because I have something that I could lose. But when I'm by myself or when I'm in the quiet, it's like fucking, it's not easy, you know. You get caught in the same loop of thought of being like, oh, that was said, why was that said, why was it said that way, that makes me feel this way, oh my God, that makes me feel this way, that makes me feel this way because they said it that way, why did they say it that way, why did they make me feel that way, why am I doing this to myself, why, and it's kind of, it's fucking
Can I crosstalk?
yeah.
Go ahead, bro.
Rudy,
Thanks for asking.
yeah, you're welcome. At least I asked, right? I'm really glad that you're sharing, because it's bringing up a lot of shit for me. Because guess what? How much time do you have?
26 days.
26 days. Not that it's a lot, but I have 17 years, and being by myself and in the quiet is the
Still
worst
good.
place for me.
It's nar.
It's the worst place for me to be. So the good thing is that I have a little bit more time away from the drug and the alcohol, but
Yeah.
that for me puts it in perspective, because if I'm by myself and I'm in the quiet and I'm not able to figure out what the fuck is going on in my head, then I'm gonna fucking lose my shit. Anybody, I guarantee most people here, I don't want to speak for anybody,
Thought away.
so that is the best thing to do, is to be able to say that out loud, and A, you're aware of it, and B, now people know, but it's like you're not alone.
I hate being by myself.
But that, and like maybe that's the cliche thing. You're not alone. No, you're not alone in that, because so many people can relate to that. I mean, probably most of the people online right now can relate to that. So it goes back to what I said about fear and having these feel. We are allowed to feel however the fuck we want to feel. Everyone here. It just matters. It truly matters what we do with that fear, how we react, how, you know, and what we do with that. So I'm proud of you. Like, hopefully,
Me too.
hopefully someone else has told you that, but I'm proud of you. We all are proud of you, and you just keep opening up your mouth and just know it gets better. And the only way it gets better for me personally is if I continue to do the work. You know, not tomorrow, not 10 years from now, but today. If I do the work today and trust the God of my own understanding today, then I'm going to be all right.
Yeah. Can I crosstalk to you again?
No, I'd rather you not. Yeah, of course. Yeah. Yes, go ahead.
Well, on Saturday, so like 2 days ago, I was at my screening room job, and we go to dinner every Saturday, and 2 of the people out of the 5 of us got wine, and wine's my drink of choice, and they got red wine. And I could fucking smell it. I wasn't even trying to smell it.
Right.
I could just smell it. And then I got on the loop of like, oh, I remember when I used to drink. Was I really ruining my life? What if I did that again? That was so much fun. I remember when I didn't feel anything. But I didn't do it. And that was rad. And then I did step work the next day. And that was even more rad. And I read Bill's story today from the big book, and I can't completely relate to the vicious cycle of going back to it, because when I choose to stop something, I really do stop it. But the way he talked about seeing his friend who got well, and how he was like, I didn't really know what it was, but I wanted that. And his friend wasn't like preaching to him. He was just living in his truth and living in what sobriety really is. And he saw that, and it was desirable. And I really needed to read that today, because the past 2 days I sort of forgot why I was doing this.
That's awesome.
I'm Pat. I'm an alcoholic.
Pat.
I just want to say, selfishness and self-centeredness is the root of all my problems. So a lot of amazing stuff is being said and read, even though I'm like in and out, selfishly like trying to like do all the shit I'm trying to do. But I feel like all the pain that everyone's talked about is like selfish pain. It's just like I'm always worried about what I'm not gonna get or what I'm gonna lose, and like doing step work, believe it or not, is actually like for Danielle, or like it's like when I work with my sponsees, I get just as much out of it as they do. So it's ironic that like I've created a selfless, selfish company. It's like a weird thing where I put like I'm selfishly wanting to succeed in helping others. It's like a weird like that only an alcoholic could have figured that one out. You know what I mean? But it's still whenever I feel like we want to feel everything has to be like what I'm about to say has to be like the most profound thing that's been said all night. Like, that's not like we want to feel so good or like so bad. And it's just these
extremes.
That's like, how is that selfish? I don't know. I just feel like everything comes down to selfishness and self-centeredness. How that's selfish is like, oh, like me, like poor me, like I'm fucking in so much pain. Like, shut the fuck up. Like, help someone else.
Yep.
Like, can I just like what can I do for my wife? Did I ever think about that today? No, not really. Because I'm just thinking about this is fear and selfish, self-centered fear. And when I start thinking about others and how can I be of maximum service to my fellows, I mean, sometimes it's just like that simple. It's a program of like service. So that's one little simple way to just distract myself from myself. Because really what I'm sick of is just thinking about myself all the time.
In Brian's time, we talk a lot about application, and and this is kind of for you, Rudy, about other people. One of the applications that set me free was one of the 4 agreements, and I don't really remember what half of them are, but the one that I live with and I live by is your opinion of me is none of my business. And once I began to truly apply
Mhm.
that to the outside world, it like set me free. Because what you think of me is none of my business. That's your business.
Yeah, it's
And it flips the script about how you think about people too. But it really is a liberating thing when you don't. You realize it's none of your business anymore what anyone thinks about.
That's
you.
so rad.
And that's my.
And that's why
obligation.
he's able to do what he does, and like while I'm able to do what I like, we kind of have that, like there's a lot of people thinking a lot of shit about us. Like me and you, it particularly, because he's putting himself out there the way I am in a huge way. I mean, you know, even you had an opinion about him, like we all, but like, and that changes, but it doesn't matter to him because like it doesn't matter to me either. I love that. I love that you just said that. Like,
I told him that he changed. Not like it matters to him. I'm
but
just
maybe
saying
you
I
changed.
sucked.
Okay, guys,
Yeah.
we're running out of time. Anyone who hasn't shared, want to share?
Way to go, Billy.
Tomato, tomato, right?
Yeah.
I'm Gus.
Hey guys.
Lately, I've just been praying for God to keep me like center and balanced, because, like Pat said, like I'm either like way up here or really down.
Yeah,
And like Chris Evader, like I don't
he's the best.
want to experience like total happiness anymore.
Yeah.
So I know that if I go there and like set an expectation that if something happens down here, they'll just slingshot me down.
Chris is our leveled friend.
Yeah. So like I've been praying for that a lot, and it's like really worked. It's crazy.
What are you praying for? To be centered?
To be centered and like
Not so in the extreme.
my whole life I'm like always up here or like super down. Like my addiction, like I drank when I was super happy because I wanted to like blow it up, and then when I was like really down, not when I was like chill. You know, like when I was chill, I was like, all right, I can chill. But that's what's like really I've been like trying to work on. And even like when I get into like altercations with Pat or whoever, like like I'm trying, like I don't know if you've like noticed, but like I'm not like snappy anymore. Like I'll like talk some shit to you, but like it's like smoother.
Control chaos.
You know what I mean? Like, and like I don't know. I feel like the less, the less you're like snappy and all over the place. Like when you become centered, it's like a lot easier to listen to people. You know, and like I don't need to like say the most philosophical shit anymore.
Yeah.
I don't need to like, or I don't need to like stand back and hide and be in fear. You know, for me, it's all about like, all right, well, these are the problems. This is how I'm feeling. Like, let's go down that middle road instead of like going this way and curving and fucking go up and down this hill. Like, I'm just gonna take the freeway, the comfortable freeway, and like get to the end, the same destination, right? Because you can go this way, you can go that way. At the end of the day, you want to be like in that same position, that happy, comfortable, level-minded.
What even is that?
Damn, really? No, I'm good.
I mean, it's just after 9. Does anybody that hasn't shared want to say anything? Any burning desires?
Corey.
Hey Corey.
I just want to say I'm thankful to be here. When you listen, I just need to hear some words.
Nice.
Your share, I appreciate it.
Yeah. Glad you're here, Corey.
Yeah.
Yeah, Rudy Ski.
I had this thought that while you were speaking, Pat, about just go back to the idea of learning to lose. I think this idea that any of it's ours in the first place is silly.
Is.
What did I lose? I never had it. It wasn't mine.
Yeah.
It was never mine.
Yeah.
I think this expectation that I get to hold on to things that are mine is where I go wrong. And I feel like I lost, but I didn't lose anything because it wasn't mine. Yeah, I think it's like Billy said, the battle is really in here. It's not about what's going on out here. I think just gratitude is one. Just be in gratitude.
that's cool too, because when I think that way, I'm like in the middle. I'm not like, oh, I have all this shit. It's like not really mine anyway, and that it's like a way to like take you off that pedestal.
The problem is it's Groundhog's Day every day, so you gotta start. Like, you know,
It's just
like, talking about your sled pathway. It's like you
Yeah.
gotta, like get off the lift and you're there, or you gotta hike a mile to like go to the powder. Like I don't want to climb a mile to go to the powder. Like I just want to go down.
Yeah.
This is the easiest, you know.
Thing I'm still listening to and learning, and what I encourage myself and everybody else here and whoever's out there to do is just stay in the now. And we talk about that in prime time too.
Mm-hmm.
There's an old saying that if you're future tripping, holding on with one hand to the future, and you have one hand holding on to the past, tripping about the past, you're pissing on the now. The best thing you could do is, like I said, I'm learning to breathe, is watching my breath, being thoughtful and noticeable of my breath, and staying in the right now. I could be fucked up and future tripping and blow my whole day up, or just resenting on something in the past, fuck my whole day up. That keeps me out of the day I'm having this moment. Even if I'm sick, in the right now moment, I'm okay. You know? Just encourage people to remember that. Listen to Eckhart Tolle, he talks about it real good.
So sorry, I forgot your name. What is
Brittany.
it?
Brittany, I'm an addict alcoholic.
Brittany.
Hey, Brittany.
Brit.
I was like really grateful to be here. I also just needed to listen tonight and hear what everyone had to say. It was some really good shit, some stuff I needed to hear, and just taking contrary action. I didn't want to fucking come sit out here in the freezing, you know, all cuddled up on my couch. And I'm just really happy I did. I got a lot from it, so thank you.
Glad you're here.
Thanks,
Yeah.
Brit.
Thank you, Greg. Say something.
I'm just grateful for everyone here, and yeah.
Grateful for you, Greg.
Thank
Yeah,
you,
man.
Greg. Grateful for you.
Big time.
Okay, what are the numbers? We still got a lot of people in the meeting.
Anybody chime
Oh,
in?
actually, yeah, I did want to mention, speaking of like the fear thing, like there's a way that you can donate. Like we don't pass a basket, but if someone wants to throw us a couple bucks, or if everybody threw $1 or even $2, it would help a lot, because
Including us sitting here.
yeah, so it's learning to lose. That's the Cash App.
Let me lose some of my money.
I just think that the meeting should
How about
have
that new
its-
coupon
Okay,
code, Pat?
Billy. The way to donate is
what?
donate to Learning to Lose. That's the Cash App.
Right.
Unless you come up with another thing, that's what it is. So sorry, it's just kind of frustrating because like you want to keep talking about what we're gonna do later, but we have the Cash App. So it's Learning to Lose Cash App. Can you type that in the thing? So if anybody wants to donate to the meeting, the light and the camera and the laptop and the mic and setting all this up so that we can bring this to the YouTube world.
How do you find this?
Oh wow.
It's on my YouTube, Patrick Ridge.
Pat.
Oh, it's not Learning to Lose?
No, it's on my, well, because the Learning to Lose YouTube doesn't really have any subscribers, but my YouTube account has 23,000 subscribers. So
cool.
so we're
So
live
this
now, and all those people are
Can you-
able.
Could you see this even after it's?
Yep.
Oh yeah. We have 8 on my YouTube, and they all have like over 1,000 views.
Cool.
It's pretty cool. So you can watch all these.
Oh, so I could tell people.
You
Oh,
can,
yeah.
I'll send you the link.
Oh, dude, yeah, please.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. Like,
That's how
You
we're
got
gonna
my
get the
email?
word out.
yeah, we'll send you.
I
I'll
need to
send
show
you
me.
my.
Yeah, for sure.
And
Like this
Sweet.
is last week's. You know, this is last week's.
Oh, fuck yeah.
Me fucking running my mouth.
Nice.
But yeah, so we have all of them.
That's great.
You
There's-
know what you need to do? It's kind of a steering committee thing. Is on your TikToks out there, you need to have a subscriber drive, because if you can get your 1,000 subscribers in 4,000 hours in the first year, that's how you monetize your channel. But you have a huge TikTok following. Get those people to subscribe to your channel.
Oh, I do almost every day.
Can I plug something real quick?
Yeah.
So if somebody wants a Learning to Lose hoodie, if they visit learningtolose.com and use coupon code Billy, they get 5% off.
Billy Rocks.
Not Billy Rocks, just Billy.
Oh, just Billy. Okay, cool.
Not Billy Rocks.
No, that's what we set up today. Billy was we wanted to. The goal was to try to get 100 people in the stream, which we didn't, but it's all good. We're learning to lose. But if you want to get a hoodie or a hat or any Learning to Lose merch, type in Billy.
That's it. They get 5% off.
And they get
in a coupon
5
code section. 5%, bro. We're being hella generous.
No, I would go. We should throw that 25% off or 50% off.
Well, that's
but
Black
whatever.
Friday.
Yeah, Black Friday sales.
So you typed in the
I
cash.
sent him
Alright.
the link.
Anybody
Yeah.
online that we want to address? Because we got to get in out of the cold like soon.
I mean, everyone's just saying thank you. They were grateful for us.
Okay.
Yeah.
Brittany, will you take us out with a prayer of your choice after a moment of silent meditation for people here, online, and everywhere that are still suffering?
First step. God.
We don't know that one.
I offer,
To thee.
I offer myself to thee.
Yeah.
Yeah.
To build with me and to do with me as I will.
Relieve me in the bondage of self, that I may better do thy will. Take away my difficulties, that victory over them may bear witness to those I will help.
Of
Thy power,
thy love, and thy way of life. May I do thy will always.
Amen. Yay.
Keep coming back. It works if you work it.
Okay.
Damn, she came out with the
Third, yeah. Damn. Thank God Brittany came.
That's dope.
Okay.
Hey, thank you guys so much for coming. Tell a friend about the meeting. We'd like to try to get 100 people in here.
So, you know, I appreciate you, and if I'm ever like a dick, my intention is not to be a dick to you. I'm just funny.
I love you.
But my intention is never to be a
I'm
dick
gonna
to
be
you.
home soon too.
'cause I appreciate
I'm leaving here
it,
like
and I felt
5.
good about like.
All right, let's do this. Real quick.
Are you run through a whole different
Just know that you're fucking a rock on my eyes, right?
thing and
Yeah. So check here. I'm gonna end the line.
Dick, like that's not my
you still be live.
Tag is gonna nice.
Can you just hold on to that?
Yeah. We'll figure it out.
Yeah, let's keep saving it up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is a sick ass bag.
Subscribe.
You shouldn't even put trash in this bag.
Malibu Illusion on Instagram.
It's a bad